Now, a lot of you may not know who this is, so all I ask is please just try and hear. Because I may not be a speaker salesman, but I'm putting you one to a pioneer. This man excelled in the world of football, which took his team to a higher tier. In a sense, he was held back, but still showed when you stay grounded that you're going to take off like Ryanair. In 1901, he was born in Canning Town, but his first team was Barking. He knew how to score, had pace, and was a wizard at passing. As a defender, you couldn't daydream because he was a nightmare marking. I mean, this man was no joke. But if he was on your team, he was laughing. And when he left Barking, he had silverware, but he was just getting started. You could say that he came from the mud, because right there's where the seed was planted. He wasn't just known for his skill, but when he joined Plymouth Argyle, that seed uprooted, and we watched him grow on the field. At Plymouth Argyle, a star was born. A black professional footballer, in those days, wasn't the norm. In fact, he was the only one, and that fact just can't be ignored. He played in the 1920s, and that fact still has me floored, because he took his window of opportunity and used it to open doors. In 1925, he got that England call, and I'm sure he was loving the fact, but what should have been a joyous occasion was about to be taken back. His name would soon disappear from the records, and the irony is he never heard Jack, but we're talking the 1920s. He got denied because he was black. And the truth is, he could have called it a rap, but he chose to stay in his lane and keep his career on track. This man is an unsung hero whose life has such an impact. And for that, I take my hat off to him, because he really should have been capped. But he still left his mark and showed his world-class pedigree. He retired a legend at Plymouth Argyle. It was there he cemented his legacy. And the one thing testament to that fact is the boardroom is now named in his memory. You see, this is a man that needs to be recognized, but let his legacy be a reminder that race should never be weaponized. He played in the days before broadcasting, but since then, the revolution's been televised. Jack Leslie.
A year on from Jack Leslie's statue being unveiled outside Home Park, we once again highlight his now familiar story, even more poignant as it falls within Black History Month. Almost 100 years ago, Jack had his name removed from the England side to play Ireland, and he's now been awarded a posthumous cap, and his story has been told around the world. We're so proud to have Jack Leslie as part of our club history, and while today's game is very important on the pitch, it's also massively important off the pitch as we remember the life of an Argyle legend.
to the boot room. And it was there today that Jack Leslie put out the West Ham boots for the last time. Jack retires today at the age of 80.
Now, Jack Leslie is a footballer you've probably never heard of, but fans of Plymouth Argyle are starting a campaign to have a statue of him erected.
And he's managed to capture that. It's amazing. Yeah. It might have taken 100 years, but he will be remembered.
Hello and welcome. You are watching Argyle TV, and we're going to be looking back on Jack Leslie in a bit more detail throughout the programme. Right now, though, I'm joined by former Argyle women's captain Katie Middleton. Katie, haven't seen you on Argyle TV in a little while.
Oh, it's nice to be back.
Nice to have you with us. We were talking earlier, perfect weather for a game today.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, hopefully for a beautiful game of football and a fabulous result.
Yes. We are looking for, I mean, we're always looking for a win at Argyle, but particularly after what happened on Tuesday night, we at Argyle are going to want to be looking for a win today.
Yeah, I think off the back of the last couple of results, obviously going away to Hull was probably a good point in the end, actually. And then obviously Tuesday night here was disappointing. I think maybe they didn't necessarily get what the performance deserved, and I think that's been a case in numerous times this season. So we'll certainly be looking to bounce back today as best as we can, and you know, if it's a similar sort of performance, if we can create as many chances as we created on Tuesday, then you know, we'll be in for a good game.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think the dynamic is when you have quite a lot of games in quick succession? I mean, we're seeing 2 at home this week. I mean, that's obviously going to be more of a positive than having 2 away on the trot.
Yeah, and I think particularly being where we are geographically, you know, distances for away games are massive. So having 2 home games on the bounce is definitely a positive for us. You know, we'll have another sellout here today. The crowds have been fantastic so far this season. And you know, they'll be wanting to put on a performance as best as they can for the crowd that's in. But you know, we know how difficult it is for teams to travel down here as well. Swansea's not a million miles away in the grand scheme of things, but you know, teams know that this place can be bouncing when Argyle are playing well. So yeah, hopefully, you know, we put Tuesday's game kind of behind us and look to build on that today.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be important for Stephen Schumacher and his team not to dwell on these losses. We have had a couple back-to-back, which we very luckily avoided last season, so it does still seem like a learning curve and adaptation, things like that.
Yeah, it's going to be, you know, it's going to happen this season. We've spoken about it before, where it's not all going to be plain sailing all the time. It's there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be games that we boss and we lose. There's going to be games potentially where, you know, we don't play so well but we win. So that's the nature of this league. So it's about trying to build on even losses, the good parts of those games, and trying to keep progressing forwards as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we will be having a look at the team news very shortly. Before we do that, though, we'll just step away for a moment, because coming up we're going to have another interview with Ronnie and Matt to talk more about the Jack Leslie anniversary.
Let's get it pumping, I'm looking away. Go tell mother I'm cooking the game. Flow like water bubbling up where you want me to make. Taking you back in the day, feeling immaculate, mate. Action packed back to back while you yapping away. I got a knack to react, but I'm packing a grace. Up to the max with a fact, let me grab the space. I had to map the place, who got a laughing face? On long and strong, looking like a stack full of hate. It goes on and on, way to the back of the bank. This phenomenon's on, I don't even have to say. I'm where I belong, this no back in the, you know. I go where I wanna, a fair warning for anybody with hair on them. You can't stop me, it gets sloppy to...
So the video that you would have seen at the beginning of the programme was made by James Kerno. He is an Argyle fan. It was an absolutely fantastic watch and a lovely way to get into the programme. And now joining me on Argyle TV, we've got former midfielder and Argyle ambassador Ronnie Morget and Matt Tiller from the Jack Leslie campaign. And you've brought something along which we'll be discussing in a minute. Great to have you both with us this afternoon. It's been a year since the statue was unveiled, Matt. First of all, how's the last year been?
Well, it's been incredible, because obviously that day was amazing. And on that day, the FA announced finally that they were going to be awarding Jack a posthumous honorary cap. They said that Jack was the first black player to be selected for England, and they followed it through, finally, 98 years later, and awarded the family this cap at Wembley in March. And the granddaughters decided that they wanted that cap to come home to Home Park, and what an incredible gesture from them.
Yeah. And Ronnie is an ambassador for the club and a former player yourself. I mean, the story and the energy that's been generated around, what's happened to Jack and Jack's story, it's fantastic that finally he's getting the recognition he deserves.
It's truly amazing. And Jack's been part of our history. It's just part of not only black history, but Argyle history. And what Matt and Greg have achieved in the 2 years, campaigners have been trying to do this for decades, just getting that equality and recognition. And what they've done is amazing.
Yeah, and of course, you've both been involved in this campaign. What's the atmosphere been like in terms of, people coming out, looking at the statue and having that discussion about it?
It's been amazing. Like, obviously the unveiling day was, insane, because there was a huge crowd and all the coverage. But every time I'm at a home game, I just wander down to the statue and chat to people. And just today, like, kids coming, groups of kids coming, having their photos taken, looking at the story that's on the statue on the plinth. And it's really heartwarming. Their parents coming and showing it to them and them learning the story. It's just wonderful. And away fans as well.
Yes. I mean, because of course Jack was an Argyle player, but this is about him being an England player as well. So it goes beyond just Argyle as a club, doesn't it, Ronnie?
Well, Jack's a representation of when good people come together and hard work is done, what can be achieved. I mean, listen, he was a genius in his own time, and he should have got more England caps. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, so talking of England caps, and we're going to have a little look at this one that you're holding, Matt.
Yes.
I mean, it's fantastic to see.
It is a beautiful thing and very well deserved, but it's what he should have got. And one thing that's incredible is in the 1920s, Argyle had a heap of players that had either previously played for England or would go on to play for England. No Argyle players actually won a cap while an Argyle player, but back then the dressing room was full of stars. One of the guys, Jack Cock, was almost like a David Beckham of the day. He'd scored the fastest goal for England. And Jack had these people in his dressing room. So actually, can you imagine how tough that would have been for him in those weeks when he thought he was going to be part of the England team, and then that dream disappearing? And he had those people who would have been slapping his back when he got the news, telling him what an amazing opportunity he had and what a great player he was, and then for that to disappear, it's all the more heartbreaking.
And Ronnie, we spoke at the very start of the show that this year anniversary is coinciding with Black History Month this month. How important is that tie-in, and also just making sure that the recognition of things like Black History Month are known to fans?
I mean, listen, there's a story to be told. this is just giving us back our black history, but not only that, but a bit of Argyle history that we never knew about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, finally, Matt, you've got a book out as well, which we'll just have a quick discussion about. Tell me a little bit about that. Yeah,
it's called The Lion Who Never Rhymed, October the 23rd. I'm actually going to have a launch here, which is sort of an invitation only, but the National Football Museum have covered it, and there's a few public tickets available, so do go on the National Football Museum website. It'll be great to see Argyle fans. But yeah, like I was saying, I learned stories about Argyle team. It was an incredible team, and Jack's achievements as well. He was the first black captain here at Argyle of a Football League side. So he really broke down barriers, and he was really loved here.
Well, definitely. I mean, you can see that from the reception that his statue's had, and I believe there's going to be a little bit more from the two of you at half-time as well, so we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. Thank you both so much for coming all the way, running all the way up the stairs. Very finally, Ronnie, we're winning today, we think?
I think we can win today. It's going to be a hard game, but I fancy us a 1-0 win.
Good. I always like to get a former player's input on these kind of things to see where we go. Right, the campaign will be continuing all the good work here at Argyle as well. Right, we've got a lot more coming your way after this, starting with the team news.
Let's get it poppin', I'm looking away. Go tell mother I'm cooking the game. Flow like water bubbling up where you want me to make. Taking you back in the day, feeling immaculate, mate. Action packed back to back while you yapping away. I got a knack to react, but I'm packing a grace. Up to the max with a fact, let me grab the space. I had to map the place, who got a laughing face? Hard, long, and strong, looking like a stack full of hate. It goes on and on, way to the back of the bank. This phenomenon's on, I don't even have to say. I'm where I belong, this is not back in the, you know. I go where I wanna, a fair warning for anybody with hair on them. You can't stop me and get sloppy.
All right, Katie Middleton is back with me now. We're going to be looking at the team news in just a moment. A couple of changes for Argyle and a few less for Swansea this afternoon. So what do we think that dynamic will entail?
I think he's probably just looking to freshen things up from Tuesday night. I think the Swansea change is an enforced one through injury. We'll have a look at the sides in a minute, but Shuey's got players that have previously played for Swansea who probably wants to get in the side and give them that opportunity to show what they can do today.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the team news now then, starting with Argyle, of course, as always. And our starting 11 consists of Hazard, Gillespie, Plegathwello, Scar, Mumba, Houghton, Butcher, Joe Edwards captaining for us, of course, Cundle, Hardy and Whittaker. And on our bench this afternoon, Burton, Kesler-Hayden, Miller, Warrington, Zaz, Randall, Bundu, Tyreek Wright and Ben Wayne there. So, like we said, Katie, there's a few changes in there. Luke Cundle as well is one name that's probably worth mentioning. He's made quite an impressive start this season.
Yeah, like I said, he's previously played for Swansea. He was there on loan, so he's certainly got something to prove today. I think there were a couple of other changes today which will probably see us revert to that three at the back, which I think the fans are probably pleased with. I think they like it when we play that formation. It gives Macaulay Gillespie a chance to come back in. He potentially wasn't quite at the races last weekend against Hull, so it'll be a good opportunity for him to come back in and show what he is capable of doing as well. Looking forward to seeing what the team's all about today, and hopefully they can have a decent performance.
And Morgan Whittaker's another one that previously had a turn with Swansea. He's been on great form recently, and really showing why he's worth the money that Argyle paid for him. Yeah,
we've spoken about Morgan so much so far this season and what he's capable of. He obviously showed it in that Norwich game with the hat-trick. So he's certainly going to want to go and put on a performance today. I think the way they took Morgan back in January last year and then didn't necessarily play him. I think he'll certainly be looking to prove a point today and hopefully get on the score sheet.
Yeah, and Matt Butcher was another name on the starting lineup this afternoon. This is his first league start for us so far this season. We did see him come on quite late in the game on Tuesday night. Do you think he's going to be bringing a bit more of a steadying presence this afternoon?
Yeah, I think Matt Butcher's one of those players that has played a lot of games. He's got a lot of experience, and he almost kind of brings a little bit of a steadier head, a calming sort of presence on the pitch, and he's decent on the ball. He'll work really hard for the team, and I think that's what today's going to be all about. Swansea are a side that likes to get the ball down, so trying to kind of break that up and get on top in the middle of the pitch as much as they can is going to be really important today, and I think that's probably why he's gone with Butcher and Houghton in there together.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how that unfolds during the course of the afternoon. The players are out on the pitch behind us now in the sun, warming up, and let's have a look at the opposition then in the form of Swansea City. For them, we have Rushworth, Key, Darling, Timon, Humphreys, Grimes, Patterson, Patino, Yates, Lowe and Cullen. And on the Swansea bench, Fisher, Chua, Norton, Ashby, Fulton, Walsh, Cooper, Congreve and Kukarevich. Talk to me about this side, Katie. Do you think Swansea are going to be, how threatening do we think they'll be?
I think they'll be really threatening today. They're coming off the back of two really good wins. I think the start of the season maybe didn't go quite as well as they would have wanted, bringing in the new manager, but sometimes that happens and it takes a little bit of time for the new manager to get their ideas across, and it seems like in the last couple of minutes in the last couple of weeks that's really clicked.
Yeah.
So they'll be dangerous. They're a team that, like I said, like to get the ball down, like to play out from the back. They'll look to press us high and try and win the ball back high up the pitch. So they've got plenty of players that are really dangerous and can cause us problems.
Yeah, I mean, Jamal Lowe, number 10 for Swansea, he's scored in his last 3, which isn't ideal for us. Maybe we can put a stop to that.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously coming into the game full of confidence as well. His kind of upturn in form has certainly corresponded with Swansea playing better and picking up more points. So he's a player that we're going to need to be really aware of. He's got Premier League experience. He's on loan from Bournemouth, I think, at the moment. So, dangerous players all over the pitch that Argyle are going to need to be at it from the first minutes to get anything out of the game today.
Yeah, and Josh Key in their side as well, signed from Exeter in the summer. That will be a gear change up for him, but it's a similar gear change that many of our players have experienced coming into a championship this season.
Yeah, and he's also a local boy. I think he was born in Torquay, so he's probably going to, again, similar to the Argyle players playing against Swansea, he's going to have a point to prove.
Yeah.
Coming from Exeter, the rivals up the road, he's going to want to show what he's all about. And obviously, like you say, he's taken that step up, as have the whole of the Argyle squad this season. So, another player who, again, can cause us problems on his day. And they've also got Charlie Patino in there, who's playing in midfield, who is a really promising youngster who's on loan from Arsenal. They've got lots of, they're looking forward to what he can potentially bring. He's just been called up to the England under-21 squad. Wow. So, lots of talent, lots of exciting prospects in that side. So that's why it's so important, like we say, that Argyle can come out and get at them from the first whistle to try and get on top. Yeah,
I think that's something that Argyle have been trying to do in recent games, really make a positive start straight out of the gate. We know that Swansea are on a bit of an up at the minute, having won their last 3, so you're kind of at a little bit of a stalemate here, where they're going to want to continue their winning streak, but Argyle are going to be very desperate not to start another losing one.
Yeah, it's all about that reaction, isn't it, from Tuesday night again, and over the last couple of seasons, Argyle have been so good at that when they've had poor performances, or not necessarily poor performances, but results go against us. It's been the reaction the following week which has been so good. So that's certainly what we'll be looking forward again today, is to try and get that reaction from Tuesday. Like we said, it wasn't a bad performance, but obviously the result didn't go our way. So that's what we're hopefully going to be looking to start like we did on Tuesday. It was a really quick start. We created lots of opportunities. So, fingers crossed we can get at them nice and early, hopefully get a goal or 2 up, and then, settle the fans down a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, broadly speaking, it does feel like Stephen Schumacher is using a bad, like you said, not necessarily a poor performance, but a poor result as a springboard into, the next game to really come back, like we've seen earlier on in the season with some of those, massive score lines. It's positive that what he can do with that.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's difficult, isn't it, when you're playing well and not necessarily getting the results that you think you deserve. But you can learn from those performances. They can analyse games, and they can put things right off the back of that. So lots to work on still, and there will be throughout the season.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's taken for granted that this is going to be an easy season or anything like that. We're definitely going to have a change of pace from the wonderful scenes we saw last time around. And today is actually the final game before another international break. So it's a good time for Stephen Schumacher and his coaching staff to take stock of how the season has gone so far. We are 11 games in. Let's see what he's made of Argyle in the Championship.
In the Championship, it's like every game is so intense and you have to think so hard about it. But then as soon as it's gone and done, you've got to get on to the next one. So, yeah, it's flown by. And 11 games is obviously a quarter of the way through, or nearly a quarter of the way through. And so far, it's kind of gone as kind of expected. So, I've enjoyed it. It's been good. Could have gone a bit better, but it could have gone a bit worse as well.
Yeah, you suggested the other night after the Millwall game that a win on Saturday really makes this block of fixtures look quite good. So I've just segmented it into kind of quarters, but you're also doing it in blocks because of the international windows as well. So that's how Saturday factors into that, I guess. Yeah,
I think last time we stopped for the international break, we come off the back of a good win against Blackburn, and that kind of got us 7 points, made everyone feel good about ourselves, and we'd obviously had 2 tough cup games in that run as well, and then we look forward to this next block of 6 now. If we can get a maximum 3 points on Saturday, I think that'll be the same. I think 7 points from the 6 games is acceptable. It's not amazing, far from it, but it gives us a chance to, as I say, keep competing and keep doing what we want to do for the targets that we've set. So it's a big game. We want to win because every game's a big game in the Championship, but going into the international break, it could let us go away with added confidence as well. Well, Swansea will be completely different from Millwall. They've got to play in a different style. They'll obviously play past through the thirds, which is what we come to expect from a Swansea team. Also, they're in great form at the moment. It was a great win on Wednesday night against Norwich. They played really well, and that's off the back of 2 other wins. Haven't changed their system, so it seems that Michael has landed on something with the team. He's figured out how they want to play, and they're doing really well. So it's going to be a hard game, and I'm sure they're going to come in here with confidence and wanting to be getting 12 points from this block of fixtures before they go into the international break. So we need to be ready for them.
Yeah, slightly crazy that no win in the first 7, I think, and then 3 in a row. It's funny how things just turn, don't they? You mentioned Michael there, Michael Duff, who's the Swansea manager, who you've had battles with over the last season or 2 when he was in League One. Now he's in the Championship, as are you. What do you make of him as a gaffer?
Sound, I like him. We get on really well. He's got a really good record. He's done a brilliant job at Cheltenham, done an amazing job last year at Barnsley. Was so unlucky not to go up. So I watched the final, and even with 10 men, I felt they were the better team, and I was gutted for him personally that he didn't manage to get it over the line, but he got his opportunity anyway to work in the Championship with Swansea, and as you said, it took them a bit of time to get going, which can happen when a new manager goes into a new club. It takes a bit of time to figure out the players that he's got, and players take a bit of time to figure out a new manager. So yeah, it's he's doing well at the moment, and hopefully we can stop that run on Saturday. Indeed. You'd expect Swansea fans to come down in decent numbers. It should be another big home park occasion on Saturday. Hope so. I think our fans were brilliant on Tuesday night. I want to stress that again. The noise was better. I think we turned the tannoy up a little bit on the music as well for the Janis song, so that got the atmosphere going, and we want that to be the same on Saturday. Now the fans can only play their part, and it's over to us as a staff and as the players to play our part, put in a performance that not only is a good footballing performance but get some points, because we feel as though our recent performances deserve more points than what they're getting. So we'll be going all out to try and do better on Saturday.
We are now 30 minutes away from kick-off, and there's still lots to get through here on Argyle TV. Coming up after this, we're going to be hearing from Michael Duff, the Swansea manager.
There's nothing like the start to a new season. The energy, the anticipation, the expectation. You know that buzz in the air. You can feel it. It's going to be our year. It's going to be different this time. It needs to be, for all of us. The emotions of the game get to us all. I know all about that. But whether out on the pitch, in the stands, or on the sidelines, we've all got to do better at all levels. No more surrounding refs, no more abuse, no more intimidation, no more discrimination. Leave the pitch to the players. And those offensive chants, you know the ones. There's never a place for them in the game we love. That beautiful feeling at the start of a new season. Don't ruin it. Let's keep it that way, together. Whether you win, lose or draw, let's make sure that this season is different. We all do it for the love of the game. Let's show our pride and passion in the right way. We all love football, so let's protect the game.
Okay then, before we hear from our opponent Swansea City, this month sees us at Argyle and of course the whole football community celebrate Black History Month. Of course, today in particular, we are celebrating the life and story of Jack Leslie, but there are a number of other stories like Jack's at clubs up and down the country. Kick It Out as a charity have been one of the main driving forces for equality in the sport, and this year sees them celebrate 30 years fighting discrimination.
Kick racism out of football has the full backing of the professional footballers.
Sol Campbell and Thierry Henry added their considerable weight to football's latest drive against racism.
People really need to realise how important race game can be.
We're all in to kick it out. Images that will be seen around the world.
We can put an end to it.
I can't believe it was 30 years. I'm unbelievably proud of Kick It Out and the 30-year journey.
The work that Kick It Out does and will continue to do, I'm sure, is vitally important.
2001 was a critical time because who were the biggest power? It was the players. The players actually leveraging their own profile and power, wearing T-shirts, sending that message out to say, kick it out, it's unacceptable. Kick It Out has become a leading voice in the fight against discrimination in football, with 68% of fans recognising it as an organisation involved in this fight.
Raise Your Game brings together a collection of people who have a passion and love for football. Raise Your Game and Kick It Out have had a tremendous impact on my life and have definitely been the steer to the point that I am at in my career. The one thing that Kick It Out really does is it allows us who have benefited to be able to pay back to ensure that there is diversity across all levels. 73% of fans believe football has become more inclusive since Kick It Out was formed, with 79% of those who've heard of Kick It Out stating it has contributed to this change.
.5% of those who have heard of Kick It Out say it has made them more likely to report discrimination, and 59% had confidence that a report would be taken seriously.
Players just didn't feel like it was enough. Everything was probably well intentioned, but actually for me there's always been a question between, okay, what's performative and what's actual impact? And I think where it doesn't really have any impact on behaviour, that's where I think Kick It Out could have done better.
I thought Kick It Out was starting to become victims of its own success because it raised the expectation, it raised the bar. So I think that was part of the modernisation of Kick It Out, how it had to evolve, and understanding and listening to players. This is why they feel, how they feel.
The majority of fans say there's less discrimination in football now than 30 years ago, or when they first became a football fan.
Herman Ousley's legacy is a change agent. Over the last 50 years in this country, I don't think there's been a single individual that's made the impact across society, community and football the way Herman has.
74% of fans state they are more concerned about discrimination now than 30 years ago, or when they first became football fans. Among fans who've heard of Kick It Out, 92% attribute this change, at least in part, to the work of Kick It Out.
Look at this, a powerful image to show football's social conscience.
UEFA strongly condemns the disgusting racist abuse directed at several England players on social media.
The best thing that I ever did was speak out. I am hopeful that we do have a top flight Premier League footballer that is able to come out.
84% of fans believe there is more that needs to be done to combat discrimination in professional and grassroots football.
My hope for Kick It Out is that you carry on the path of solution first. What are you doing to hold all these organisations, UEFA, FIFA, Premier League, EFL, accountable when these things happen? It's about accountability, because that's the only way in society people go, you cannot do that without consequence.
If there's one hope I really want for Kick It Out, it's sustainability. It's understanding data and insights. They have become so relevant more than ever today. As players, in organisations, the measurement of effectiveness, that's so important.
We need to work as a collective in order for us to continue to see representation, and that can't be only one person's task. We need people like yourselves to ensure that you are determined, you remain bold and resilient.
And if we look at the journey now, there's been some excellent work done, but it's also about modernising itself for the long haul. And I feel that Kick It Out is well equipped more than ever to lead and be at the very vanguard of change.
Well, there are a number of things that the club are doing over the next month to help raise awareness, but also to celebrate Black History Month. Right, Swansea City then are opponents this afternoon. They have won their last 3 matches, but they had started life under new manager Michael Duff without a win from their first 7 games of the season. He seems to have found his feet though now and settled into a winning formula that he's hoping to bring down to Devon this afternoon.
Swansea have found the winning formula. Successive wins to finally get their season up and running. And convincing wins at that, as they backed up their 3-0 win at home to Sheffield Wednesday with a 3-0 win at Millwall at the weekend. Can they get a consistent run of form going? It'll be a tough test tonight here against Norwich. Possession well won back. There might be an early opportunity here for Jamal Lowe, who tucks it away. And so much of it down to him winning the ball back first before bursting into the box to tuck that one beyond Angus Gunn. It is a perfect start here for Swansea City. Don't see much of Norwich going forward so far this evening. This is a positive search. Block on the strike, it's fizzed across the edge of the 6-yard box, and they've got themselves level. Gabriel Sara. Really good burst forwards by Jonathan Rowe, and then the ball sent across the front of the 6-yard box. Gabriel Sara adjusted really well to control his header and beat Cole Rushworth. Here comes the corner. It falls and it's bouncing around, and it comes to Humphreys, who fires it home. Swansea regain the lead, and it's a first career goal for Bashir Humphreys, pinballing around inside the Norwich box. But look at that composure from Humphreys to take a touch, to tee himself up, and he just put everything behind it. It is a 3rd successive win for Swansea. Michael Duff and Swansea will celebrate this one this evening as they fought off a stubborn Norwich side.
Obviously very quick turnaround, quite demanding with the travelling as well. But obviously you hope to be able to take this momentum through that and then into the international break.
Yeah, I went to watch them last night. So they were unlucky last night. They got beat by Millwall. I missed the second goal because we got off. But the first half, they totally dominated. You know, we played Millwall obviously last week, so we know they're no mugs. So they were really good. They're unlucky to lose the game, in my opinion. I know a lot of them and the manager because he's sort of come through the leagues the same as I have. But their place, they beat Norwich 6-2 last home game. So it is a fortress. It's bouncing all the time. It's full all the time. Obviously, the 24 hours less recovery. So we'll have to hopefully count the bodies. Everyone gets through it and prepare as best we can to finish off this mini run that we're on.
Just over 15 minutes now until kick-off this afternoon against Swansea City. So it's about time we give ourselves a reminder of the sides that are going out today, starting with Plymouth Argyle, our starting 11, Hazard, Gillespie, Plegathuelo, Scar, Mumba, Houghton, Butcher, Edwards, Cundle, Hardy and Whittaker. And on the Argyle bench this afternoon, Burton, Kessler-Hayden, Miller, Warrington, Azaz, Randall, Bundu, Wright and Wayne. Katie, Joe Edwards, of course, our captain currently and today. We didn't see him start on Tuesday night. We haven't seen him play as much this season as last season either. But, you know, I'm sure he'll be a good, strong presence on the pitch this afternoon.
Yeah, I think obviously he didn't play on Tuesday. I think sometimes when he doesn't play, they miss that kind of leadership that he brings. He's definitely a leader by example on the pitch, and you know, when he's not there, sometimes that kind of drive and determination is lacking a little bit. He was fantastic against Hull on last Saturday, so certainly be looking for another similar performance again today.
Yeah. What difference does it make on the pitch when you don't have your captain kind of alongside you for some games?
Yeah, I think it's just that, like I say, that leadership and, you know, being able to get messages across from, you know, the management and stuff, not even necessarily from them on the game, but, you know, implementing things that have been worked on during the week. So, you know, there's other leaders out there, you know, the likes of Jordan Houghton, who's, you know, particularly important as well this season. So, you know, Joe is the epitome of what Plymouth Argyle is all about, with that passion and determination. So it's good to see him back on the pitch again today.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be good to see him coming out with the rest of the squad at 3 o'clock. Let's look over at Swansea's team then for this afternoon. Their starting lineup consists of Rushworth, Key, Darling, Timon, Humphreys, Grimes, Patterson, Patino, Yates, Lowe and Cullen. And on their bench, Fisher, Chua on Norton, Ashby, Fulton, Walsh, Cooper, Congreve and Kukarevich. Of course, for Swansea, their captain, number 8, Grimes there. Talk to me about him, Katie.
Yeah, I think he's an important player for them. You know, similar to Joe Edwards, a lot of their good play goes through him. He's that player who kind of links when they're trying to play out from the back. You know, he's the link to try and play forwards and progress them up the pitch. So, yeah, a key player for them. And we've spoken about how important it is for Argyle to get on top in that midfield. And if we can stop him playing, then potentially you stop Swansea playing. So, yeah, important player to try and get on top of early.
Yeah, there we go. Lots of elements to look at this afternoon. And the clock ticks ever closer to that all-important kick-off time. We'll be back here again in just a moment. So stay tuned on Argyle TV after this.
The away day. A shared passion and commitment. 12,000 miles across the season. Unforgettable memories. Past players, the goals. Waiting players, supporters, young and old. Capturing the moment, living the dream. Green Army, belting out the genocide. The stands, the shirts, the drum beats. The surging crowd moving as a giant wave. Crusaders, one and all. The Green Army.
Some final thoughts then from you, Katie, before we see the game unfold. We're coming off this game into an international break. What difference will that make?
I think, you know, you want to go into an international break on a high. We did it last time. We beat Blackburn here 3-0 before the last international break. So if you have a poor result or a poor performance, you've then got to kind of dwell on that for the next couple of weeks. So important to try and get a win today. Obviously, it's been a couple of games since we last picked up 3 points. So today's a good opportunity to get back to winning ways for sure.
Yeah, and I think people are going to want to see a different game to what they saw here on Tuesday night as well.
Yeah, and it's a very different opposition today. Millwall are a team who are happy to just sit behind the ball and play on the counter attack, whereas Swansea are a team who like to be in possession and keep the ball as much as they can. So I think that's probably why we see a slight change of formation today, potentially with the wing backs, and will make us a little bit more solid defensively. And then it's about how we counter attack, and can you get Luke Cundle, can you get Morgan Whittaker on the ball in those important areas to trouble Swansea? Yeah,
I mean, it would certainly be an interesting element if we see the goals coming in from the likes of Morgan Whittaker and Luke Cundle getting in on the action as well. Some final thoughts then before the match from the Argyle camp. Now then, here is assistant manager Mark Hughes.
Mark, 4 changes then for this afternoon's game. Just talk us through them and the reasoning, I suppose, behind them.
Yeah, obviously we had a game during the week. This is the 3rd game in a week, and we know how intense the league is. And yeah, 4 changes just to freshen it up. And like I said, these lads we see them every day, and we know that they're chomping at the bit to get it going. So yeah, they come in to freshen it up, possibly a change of shape. You never know. And yeah, we back all our players, and I'm sure they always give a good account of themselves when they're called upon.
I suppose one of the key things with this squad is the flexibility to be able to, if you do need to change the shape or just tweak the tactics, we've got the players to be able to do it.
Yeah, and as I said, since I've been in the building, obviously, and the manager, we've always tried different things, but to keep the messages really simple, so it won't be a drastic change of how we play, and let's hope we can get a similar result to the last home game. The last home game on a Saturday.
Yeah, and also the last home game before an international break, and it always is kind of quite a good section marker, I suppose, isn't it, to get into that break and wanting to do it with a positive result.
Yeah, 100%, because you haven't got a game for 2 weeks, and you win and you're buzzing, you lose, you're looking at the league table stewing, but hopefully it's a bit like the last home game, the Blackburn game, wasn't it, before the international break, and everyone goes into the international break quite buoyant. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Swansea are on a bit of a crest of a wave at the minute. They're flying high and got really some good players.
Yeah, what is going to be the key messages today then to try and get the better of, as you say, a resurgent Swansea side?
Yeah, well, we know that they've got some good footballers, and if you're good footballers, what you don't want is people in your faces. You want time and space, and that's something we'll be doing today. I know it's a warm day and we might not be able to do it all the time, but again, that's where we've got lads who can come off the bench and say we can finish the game strong, but it's all about making it tough for them and to get back to what we're good at, and hopefully getting 3 points back here at home.
Just finally, I know it's not all about them, but it's a big game obviously for Morgan and Luke Cundle up against one of their old sides. It always gives a little bit extra fire in the belly, doesn't it, for a player?
Yeah, exactly, and hence why they're playing. You do, as being a player myself, when you go back to old clubs, you've just said that hit the nail on the head. It does give you a bit of fire in the belly, and I know you should always want to win every game, but there is always something about playing against your ex-teammates, but let's hopefully don't try too hard and just play the natural game, and I've got no problem that they'll be fine.
Best luck with it.
Just enough time to have a look at some of the other games happening around the Championship. Birmingham versus West Brom, that happened last night, finished 3-1 to Birmingham, and in the early kickoff of Middlesbrough and Sunderland, you can see on your screen there, Middlesbrough triumphing 4-0. We've got some more games happening. Leaders Ipswich are at home against Preston. Leeds are looking for another win against Bristol City. Darren Moore goes back to his old club at Sheffield Wednesday with his new one, Huddersfield, and Rotherham are going away to Southampton. All the fixtures for you there, and we will be bringing updates throughout the rest of Argyle TV. That's pretty much it for the build-up here this afternoon, because we are just moments away from a 3 p.m. kickoff, but it is 11 p.m. if you're watching in Japan, like Tatsumaki Bones, who has been in touch. Lovely to have you with us again. Katie, thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. We'll of course be back at halftime and with the aftermatch show. Just enough time finally then to remind you that you can get a match pass from the website pefc.co.uk. Charlie Price and Ian Stonebridge are standing by for the commentary with that. The audio match passes can be bought for £2.50 for our UK based supporters, and the international fans can get the full streaming pass for just £10 as well. pefc.co.uk for all of the details. Right, can Argyle go into the international break with a win? Katie Middleton thinks so. Right, we'll find out over the course of the next 2 hours as Argyle take on Swansea City here at Home Park.
Mm.